What's up, guys? It's me, Jesse, and we're back with more Tower of God content. So what I wanna really start doing now, um, is get less into just some dumb meme top 10 reactions and shit, and really start diving into some analysis of characters and arcs and themes of Tower of God. I think it's an absolutely incredible webtoon. I really enjoy it, but I also notice that a lot of the a lot of the other YouTubers that cover Tower of God will have some really good videos on like character overviews and top tens and stuff, and some good general discussion. But I think there's a lot more room to kind of get into the nitty gritty of things and microanalyze, look for some direction and character themes going on here. So, without further ado, I want to share with you guys some thoughts I had on Baam, the main character of Tower of God. And I actually wanted to give a bit of a pessimistic take here and kind of make a case for why I think that he has actually been corrupted by the Tower. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So today I want to talk about a potential journey I've seen with Baam over the last couple of years reading the webtoon. Whether SIU chooses to execute this idea in full is up to him, but with Baam's recent scenes at the Nest, I've come to notice that it looks like the Tower has finally caught up to Baam. It's said that irregulars are beyond fate, and were brought into the Tower to effect change, but whereas the Hard created the current system in the Tower, and Urek seems to give it individual freedom, Baam instead has finally become molded by it, losing his purity to the cynicism and cruelty of the Tower. All of the work that Sweet and Sour tried to put in to bring him back has finally been undone for good. He is no longer concerned with what is morally right or wrong. He is now focused on protecting what's important to him. A choice almost every climber of the Tower has made. But what made Baam special back in Season 1 was his lack of understanding of Tower morality, the idea that it was okay to kill and betray as long as it'll help you climb higher. He rejected these, and rejected them again to prove to White that the sacrifices he made weren't justified. Now, Baam has learned to accept the necessity of sacrifice, and has finally conformed to the morality of the Tower. Baam has always been malleable. In the cave, Rachel taught him everything he knew. Loyalty, protective instinct, friendship, loneliness. These are the lessons he learned that kept him going throughout Season 1 in his attempt to find and reconcile with Rachel. Aguero then taught him everything about the Tower, how it's governed, and how people most frequently succeed through trickery and strategy. In Season 2, FUG taught him about power, both physical and emotional through the use of hostages and brutal training. He learned it was necessary to get stronger to protect the people he cared about, and it was up to Wangnan and his team then to teach him that he didn't have to do it alone. These lessons form the core of Baam's character for the first half of the series so far. He's caught between wanting to climb with his friends and Rachel, yet not having the power himself to stay with them as he repeatedly loses them through hostage situations and disasters. This is why so many power-ups are introduced, in my opinion. It's necessary for Baam to get them throughout the course of the story, not just to fight stronger enemies, but also to be able to give him just a bit more agency, an inch closer to successfully keeping his team together through his own power. Over time, as Baam has become more and more driven by the need to get stronger, and has come into more direct conflict with Sahar's forces, he had to make some tough choices and put his team in more and more danger. Ever since the Floor of Death, he's chosen to accept Garam's story and pursue the Thorn for the purpose of confronting Zahard. While the arc partially explained his origins, it also gave Baam a new desire, one that necessitates fighting. As his threat level grows and he's challenged by more and more powerful forces, Baam gets farther and farther away from his past self, who let Khun do most of the dirty work. It may be that his new knowledge and purpose are the price of his power. But in Season 3, Episode 55, as Baam's younger self confronts him at the Nest, we've finally received confirmation that Baam is willing to kill and sacrifice for the sake of his goal. Essentially, he's inch closer to Rachel. But more importantly, I think the scene represents the cruelty of the Tower finally triumphing over Baam's mind. After being used by his allies and trapped by his enemies, he no longer questions what is right and wrong. He only cares about protecting the people in front of him. But this protection is, unfortunately, rather one-sided. What I personally think this will lead to is a cascade of self-justification and enablement. Believe it or not, we already see Baam more so enabled and used rather than genuinely supported by his allies. While certain people such as Kun and Rak and Wangnan do genuinely care for him, I'm not going to argue against that, all of them either put him on a pedestal or justify and encourage some questionable choices of his. In the Name Hunt Station, which I think is the most important example for Aguero, Kun Aguero Agnes advocates ignoring the plight of the no-named for the sake of preserving Baam's energy and keeping him focused on succeeding quickly, just defeating Kaiser and getting back on the train to go to the floor of death. Yuhan Sung, Ha Jin Sung, and the rest of FUG pretend to worship Baam, but in fact manipulate him with hostages and force him into positions where his goals will naturally align with theirs. Despite Baam now genuinely wanting to destroy Zahar's military and depose Zahar himself, this goal came from information fed to him by Garam and FUG, who also purposefully withheld parts of the truth, as Garam says. Even Rachel tells half-truths to keep him following her, despite even her own wishes. But what does this subtle manipulation have to do with anything? As long as Baam is convinced himself of his resolve, that should be enough for him to keep going, right? Well, that is definitely true. But this might actually turn Baam down a darker path, one of continuous self-justification and suffering for the sake of his ultimate goal. In extreme circumstances, this might not be so different from the way that White justifies the sacrifice of so many souls to ensure he one day has the strength to confront his father. In Season 3, Episode 60, Calivan confronts Baam over his goal, the war he's currently leading, and whether it will be of any benefit to the Tower. He calls Baam an ordinary person, one who doesn't deserve to have anyone sacrifice their lives for him. Baam, with this new resolution, agrees with him, but says he simply came to save his master, and any normal person would do what is right. He justifies his actions here for the sake of his relationship with Jin Sung, ignoring his past as a man who killed people he didn't even know out of sheer rage, who made Kun Aguero Agnes, of all people, shit his pants in fear, and who still helps lead an organization that commits atrocities against many people in the Tower regardless of their affiliation. This is the man who tailored Baam to be a weapon, and was complicit in holding his friends hostage, despite hollow words of wanting Viol, his Slayer candidate, to be happy. Though it's the choice that would make Baam the happiest in the end, after he rescues him, it's not that easy to say that saving Jin Sung is really the right choice. Nor is it easy to say that it justifies killing a certain amount of soldiers, when saving Jin Sung will inevitably give FUG another useful soldier of their own, who could kill many more. And on the other side, you could also argue that leaving Calivan and Yasracha alive would allow for the deaths of many more people through Zahar's army. In my opinion, in this regard, the way SIU has written the army, they seem to me like purely a reactionary force at this point in the story. So I'm not necessarily willing to say that Baam really needs to take him out for the good of the Tower yet. Baam goes further though and says he'll continue despite the loss of life, because eventually, and a quote by him, those people will gather and overthrow that corrupt king of yours. Now I know the way that SIU frames this scene, by saying any normal person would save Baam's master, he's giving Baam the impression of being like down to earth and relatable and is just, doing what matters to him. And I think this is fair. But it also definitely presents Baam's motivations as narrow-minded. This is an even more dangerous self-justification, because it reads like it's putting sacrifice on a pedestal, which draws clear parallels to White, who was once Baam's fiercest ideological enemy. Baam, who once went toe-to-toe with Joaquin in the Hell Train and saved his enemies because he felt that it was important to prove his point, is now acknowledging that sacrifice will be inevitable. Baam presumes to speak for those that have died, regardless of their will and regardless of the consequences. It does not matter to Baam in this moment what happens if Zahar is deposed. It simply matters that he must depose him, and as long as he succeeds in that, the sacrifices made by his allies will have been worth it. It makes sense that we as readers will be able to judge that for ourselves, but I think that Baam is enabling himself here to make more selfish choices down the line. Moreover, his allies have sheltered him, and made it easier for him to make these choices. Kun pressured Baam to ignore the no-named in NHS for the sake of his spirit, but at the cost of everyone around them, and consoles him again when he uses the souls to teleport the cage. While Baam did, of course, save lives here, and feels bad for using the power of the souls despite his misgivings, Kun's way of consoling him is disingenuous. He tells Baam that he's different from White because Baam thought about the souls as he used them, which neither White nor himself had any care for. He says the souls likely lent Baam their power willingly, knowing it was for a good cause, but all this really does is calm Baam down and enable him to use the souls for causes he thinks is good later. Can it be implied the souls would approve? Yes and no. On the one hand, the final clone transferred those souls to Baam, and they seem to be accepted without much conflict, so we know the souls were willing when they were given to him. On the other hand, we learn from the Blue Demon that the souls were consumed by the enormous power inside of Baam, so this does call their agency in the question. And even if they did have agency, the souls were given explicitly to help defeat Joaquin, and said souls may not approve of Baam explicitly working with White now, who was their killer. After giving some thought to Kuhn's reasoning here, I believe Kuhn is effectively enabling Baam to justify any suffering he causes by acknowledging it and thinking about the people he hurts or kills. It's debatable how much thought Baam gives to anyone who isn't directly in front of him. "Oh gee, I sure wonder how Prince and Arcraptor and Horiang are doing," said no one ever in the story, of course. But with Kuhn supporting his decisions in this way, he'll be able to use the souls with greater ease, as well as commit more personal violence or make rash decisions. Kuhn has always been invested in Baam's personal happiness, so to push Baam down this path, while it does show how much he cares for Baam, may end up having some selfish consequences. Killing a hostile army is one thing and easy to justify from the reader's perspective, but in future arcs it'll be easier for him to burn more souls and use more of his power to create collateral damage without thinking about the consequences, either for the people on the floor or, in the worst circumstances, for his own teammates. Ultimately, I believe that SIU has used Baam's recent moments to show that the tower has finally gotten to him, and he really has become an ordinary regular, but with extraordinary power. He's now used to selfish motivations, and has been encouraged by his teammates to make more selfish decisions. He lost the lessons taught to him by a disingenuous Rachel, and instead learned from her example in the tower. He is now able to justify his choices for the sake of his ultimate goal, willing to kill those who stand against him and ignore those who will not help him. There are a lot of interesting ways to proceed from here. Wangnan once said that he's never seen a decent person among those who say they're going to save the world while forsaking the people around them. If Baam truly wants to overthrow that corrupt king, he may need to realize that he himself has a lot to work on before he can make the tower better after defeating Zahard. If he cares about that at all, that is. In a good future, Baam will realize how far he strayed from his original self and seek reform or redemption as he continues to climb. In a bad future, he will push and be pushed farther along this path until he hurts or alienates more of his allies, leaving him extraordinarily powerful, but completely alone. Multiple characters have said that they're raising a monster, and it just might turn out that Baam is the greatest monster the tower has ever seen. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the analysis. If you guys really want to see more of this, let me know in the comments, or if you disagree, let me know in the comments. I also want to give a quick shout out to Rajiv, Bones, Light Prayer, and Cyclerin for helping review this script and making sure I wasn't posting something completely stupid before I put this up. So thanks a lot, guys, for that. And if you're interested in discussing more Tower of God with myself or anyone else, I'll put a link to the Tower of God Discord in the description. We have a lot of good discussions on there, and it's a really great community. Hope you'll consider becoming a part of it. So, of course, end of the video, smash that like button, hit that subscribe, and let me know if you want more Tower of God content in the comments. See you guys.